You think it is today that a lot of American men are going overseas to find wives?
I cannot relate. It is the real thing, but it's just insecurity. Think overseas, go overseas, babe. I completely disagree because it takes a whole lot of courage, a whole lot of self-confidence, somewhat of financial stability, and a passport, which a lot of chicks don't even have, for a man to go overseas and find his wife. And actually, really be the ones who are complaining about men leaving the U.S. to find their wives. It be the women themselves. Isn't it true that you hear so many women online talking about, leave, we don't want you here, leave, go find yourself a doormat, leave, you think you're better than everybody else now since you have a passport, where are you going? Basically, women are shaming men and insulting them for trying to do better for themselves. I hear women talking about they want to do better for themselves all the time. So what's wrong when a man wants to do that for himself? Unfortunately, some women in America are not submissive, they are way too masculine, and they don't want to cater to a man. So girlfriend, you may look feminine, but if your attitude stinks, what is a man supposed to do besides moving on? And then you're going to be mad at him for it and call him insecure?
After watching hundreds of videos about passport bros, Johnson went on a journey in search of a happy, traditional life with an Asian wife. But there's a secret he didn't know. Well, he knew, but didn't take heed. Now, he lost everything to his Asian wife. Let's take a look at how Johnson ruined his life.
Johnson had always been a lonely man. He grew up in a small town in the United States, where he was constantly rejected by Western women for being too nice and too creepy. He had tried his best to find someone who shared his values, but all he ever found were women who used him for his kindness and then left him when they were done. Feeling lost and disillusioned, Johnson turned to the internet for answers. He stumbled upon a series of videos about passport bros, men who traveled to other countries to find wives who were more traditional and submissive. Intrigued, Johnson spent months researching different cultures and customs until he finally settled on Asia as his destination. He saved up his money, quit his job, and flew to Asia in search of a wife who would cook for him, clean, and turn his house into a home. And eventually, he found her. Her name was May, and she was everything Johnson had ever wanted in a partner. She was beautiful, kind, and devoted to her family. She loved to cook and clean, and she was always eager to please Johnson. Johnson was overjoyed. He couldn't believe that he had finally found someone who understood him and shared his values. He decided to bring Mai back to the United States, where they could start building a life together. But as soon as they arrived, things started to go wrong. The women around him were cold and suspicious of Mai. They called her a mail-order bride and whispered behind their hands. Johnson tried to explain that Mai was his wife, not some object to be judged and discarded, but his words fell on deaf ears. Mai struggled to adjust to life in the United States. She missed her family and her culture, and she found it hard to connect with the other women around her. Johnson tried to be supportive, but he didn't always understand what she was going through. As time went on, Mai started to change. She began to adapt to the ways of the Western world, and she started to question the traditional values that her parents had brought her up with. She started to see the world in a different light, and she realized that she didn't want to be just a housewife anymore. She wanted to pursue her own dreams and ambitions. Johnson was blindsided. He had thought that Mai was happy with their life together, that she was content to be his wife and take care of their home. But now she was talking about leaving him and starting a new life on her own. Johnson tried to talk to her, to understand what had gone wrong, but Mai was distant and uncommunicative. She told him that she needed to find herself, to figure out who she was outside of their relationship. Johnson felt like his whole world was falling apart. He had lost his wife, his home, and his sense of purpose. He didn't know what to do next. But then, he remembered the warnings he had heard in the videos about passport bros. He realized that he had made a huge mistake by bringing Mai back to the United States. He had failed to heed the warnings that the Western culture would corrupt her traditional programming. Johnson was filled with regret. He had lost the love of his life, and he had no one to blame but himself. He felt like he had been conned by the videos that promised him a happy traditional life with an Asian wife. Guys, this is how it always ends for people that don't heed warnings. In one of my previous videos about passport bros, I made it clear. Do not bring your traditional wife to the United States. The women over there will mess with her traditional programming, and she'll become like them. I remember this day like it was yesterday when a group of Western women were discussing how to divorce their husbands and take all their money for themselves. Now imagine if your traditional wife was among them when they were discussing their evil plans, knowing fully well that the government will back them up. I mean, how else is the government supposed to get bread if not by getting cuts from alimony and child support fees? If she was with the girls for a night out, and all they were discussing was divorce or their toxic feminism, tell me why she won't change on you. If these Western women can manipulate you, tell me why they can't manipulate their own gender. Never take your traditional wife to the United States if you don't wish to mess your marriage up, if you don't wish to lose your wealth to divorce. I don't fully approve of the passport bro message because women are the same everywhere. Maybe cultures are great at hiding them. My advice for you guys is to go out with women. Don't hate women. We're different from incels. And when she tries to bring marriage into the equation, you run. Marriage is just not safe anymore. Even if your wife is from the Philippines, you still risk losing your shit. It all depends on the female friends she moves with. There are a lot of cats and dogs among Western women, believe me. They'll mess your wife up. If you have a traditional wife in Asia, stay in Asia. If you have a traditional wife in the Philippines, stay in the Philippines. If you work in the United States, leave your wife in Asia, the Philippines, Japan, or wherever, and go do your business in the United States. Never take your wife along with you, or you'll lose her. A word is enough for the wise. That's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers.